Welcome to FCC Supporter Square, the show for fans, by fans, and about fans. Here's your host, Mark Suffin and Matt Warman.
Hey, welcome to FCC Supporter Square. I am your host, Matt Warman. If you didn't know this, then you probably went to the wrong podcast. Maybe you should get another peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I don't know. Maybe, but anyhow, welcome to this podcast. We're happy to have you. We're happy to see you. It is yet another Thursday and yet another wonderful episode. Um, why am I so giddy? Because FC Cincinnati is in the Supporter Shield. Wait, Supporter Shield? They're playing terribly. If you've seen all the social media about FC Cincinnati, this is the worst team since the Wooden Spoon team of 21. This is the worst team ever. Suddenly, as bad as we are in first position. It's early. We've got a lot of games to play, but it's good to be where we're supposed to be. And also, where we're supposed to be is having a guest. And I have a guest, Nate Janulis. Say hi, Nate.
Hey, what's going on?
So, last week we had a home game on Saturday, the first time this season that we had a Saturday night home game. Tell people where you're from, and then I'm going to ask you were you at the game?
From Michigan, and no, missed this one. Was not there. Unfortunately, had to watch from afar, but was there in spirit, but physically on my couch, staring at it.
So let me. I know we usually wait till later, but I've got a quick question. So when you watch from your couch, home or away, do you have a special routine? Do you have like a special scarf? Do you have a special beverage?
Well,
I'm so interested about this that I have to break my format early. So do you have like a special routine to get ready for the game?
no, I don't. For the most part, I basically just whatever I have going on that day, I set it aside, put on I might do like a vodka soda, but just kind of sit down and the game, usually with my daughter actually by my side most of the time. And that's about it to the extent of it. And I got a basement full setup, 70-inch, all that fun stuff, little criner, and just kind of sit back and enjoy the show, for the most part.
Fantastic. Yeah, see, I was wondering if you had like you do some chanting, you get the whole family to march into the rumpus room. I thought that would be pretty interesting. Maybe that's something you do in the near future, but
It's a good idea, but haven't thought that far yet. So, but no, we normally just kind of sit down, grab a snack or two. Um, Vodka soda if it's late enough. If it's not, just regular drink, and just sit back and enjoy it for the most part. Blast the TV up real loud so the walls rattle, and then try to create a live atmosphere as much as possible from the comforts of my own home.
Oh, that is fantastic. So, last week I made as we do nothing but bad takes on this show. So don't worry about what you say. It's nothing but bad takes on the show. But my bad take was that we would win 2-0. We'd score one goal in each half. And I was almost right. We actually did score a goal in the first half. Keller with his wonderful Pete Rose impression after scoring the goal was eventually called off by VAR because somebody was way offside. 18 passes. You would think that they would have called that before, but it is what it is. Then Lucho does Lucho things. What was your impression of last week's game?
And to me, last week is like all the weeks we have where we can't have a forward find the back of the net if we paid them more money than God knows what. Unfortunately, I think we have the best back line in MLS. I love our back line. I love every like Holen. I love Miazga. Love Robinson. I think we have a tremendous back three. I love our wing backs, especially DeAndre Yedlin, who's been one of my favorite U.S. men's national team players for forever. And the fact that he finally came from Inter Miami, it's awesome. Awesome wing backs, awesome midfield, average strikers. And unfortunately, I think it's going to be one of those things where I think we're going to struggle to score throughout the rest of the season until they find their form. I'm hoping that Bird can find his form a little bit, and that because he's gotten really close with some of the, sliding in and, aerial stuff he's doing, and he was a decent hold up player that game. But it's one of those things where it's when you're a striker, sometimes you're just not in form, and it seems to be the case for him. So I'm just fingers crossed that eventually will happen. But I think it's the story of the last few games where we dominate mid, we dominate possession, we dominate in the back half, hard to score on because of all those attributes. But then we just struggle to score until Lucho does what he does, like you said, you know.
Yeah, we need more than Lucha. That's apparent. I've forgotten maybe because I just blanked it out, but I was watching a quick replay and I forgot that Bupenza had basically a breakaway and hits it right at the keeper. He puts some air on the ball. He tries to put it closer to the post instead of hitting it right down the middle. Maybe we get an additional score. I think they're close. I try to tune out what other people say and just go by what my thoughts are. I think Baird is one of those does all the dirty work. He's just been missing wide forever.
Hmm.
At some point, there's going to be a game, and I've been saying this. So when people who keep listening, you can call me out at the end of the season. But we are going to have a game where we have like 5 shots on goal, and all 5 go in the net. But we're only going to have 5 shots on goal, but they're all going to go in the net because we've had like 16 shots on goal, and maybe 1 goes in the net. It happens, and you're right. I don't think the strikers are in form, from what I can see, they're making special moves. Like I said, there was a terrific pass. I think it was Oriano that made that pass to Boot,
Yeah.
and he's got a breakaway. He's got to put that away. I mean, I see why other people get all angry, but they were also angry about Brenner, and then Brenner would score a hat trick, and then people would be quiet. Then he wouldn't score for 3 games, and people would start chirping. Then he'd score another hat trick, right? I think this is going to be something like that. I think Baird, if he scores, he's probably pressing because you want to impress your fans. He's happy to be here. Um,
And yeah,
so
that was Oriano that put in that tremendous ball that dropped it right on a needle, right on Boop's foot there. That was incredible. And that's what I'm talking about, the wingbacks between him and Yedlin, just able to tear up the sides. I think it's gonna be an awesome feat and going in the long haul. It's gonna be great to see him continue to do that. I think one of the most unsung heroes, and I just marvel at the way he plays. I think he's great, but nobody talks about him enough. Bucha that came over from the Czech league. I think he doesn't do anything fancy. He doesn't do anything flashy, but he puts in all the work.
that's the one piece I think we were missing. Junior Moreno, when he was on, could play very well, but there were games where he would take off, and he was a little slow. And a team like the team up north, or for you, the team down south, uh,
South right.
they would take over midfield, and that's how even if we would get a goal or two, end up somehow tying or losing that game because they were controlling midfield for large swaths of our matches. I looking more forward to seeing our team playing that team, because I think we've got much better midfield play, which goes into our other thing that we just like literally yesterday officially was it Yamal Assad. We just signed Yamal Assad. He played with Lucho in 2018 at DC United. He's been training with the team for about a month, so he's playing with the 2 team tonight, I think.
Yeah. Yep. And actually, you are 100% right on that because I looked that up, and unfortunately I was going to try to watch the game, but it wasn't on Apple TV. But yeah, he's playing with the 2 team tonight, so hopefully he's getting those reps in.
So probably as we speak, that's what's going on is, or very soon, the NKU for those who are listening on the go, or or already there. You go say, yeah, I was already there. Um, he's playing, so likely he's not going to play significant minutes on Saturday. He might come in for 15, 20 if they want to bring him in at the second half as a super sub. He probably could recover enough for that. But I think that's his role. I think his role is, hey, have him play with Lucho if we need a goal, or have him replace Lucho for 10 minutes to hold on to a lead. Because my only fear about this team is that Lucho is going to be wore out when we really need him in October, November, December. What are your thoughts?
I agree, but I'm fingers crossed. Like you said, we signed a decent backup for him. We'll see how he comes in. I was looking through his stats. There's only really one really good season he had in DC United, but hey, we'll see. But a backup's a backup. But I'm also that Venezuela kid, which I hope I pronounced that last name right. I think he's like the future heir apparent in that role. Young, needs some reps, does some probably, iffy things because of that. But I think as the season goes on and he gets more comfortable in playing some minutes here and there, I think we'll really see him shine. And then there's Coach, you still got Kubo, who I think could step in there for a minute.
We call him Dado.
Okay.
No, no, it is. It is. I think it's Valenzuela, VAN.
Venezuela, yeah.
Yeah, but everybody calls him Dado, and everybody's. I mean, he's like an 18, 19-year-old kid. And
Yep.
there are rumors that we're trying. It sounds like Houston also wants the same guy as a 19-year-old striker from Ecuador,
Yep.
but he's playing over in Ukraine, I think.
Yep, he's playing over for was it Shakhtar, but he's not getting the minutes that he would prefer, and so therefore he wants to transfer. I read all about this today. He wants to transfer over here, and we are, I guess, we're the ones who are really slotted as the one to actually make that go, with just Houston maybe sniffing around if we don't, if we can't pull the trigger for whatever reason.
Yeah, we have the discovery rights. For those of you, this is not our bailiwick on this show. We leave that to Cincinnati Soccer Talk and other shows that really delve into this. But yes, we have the rights, which means he's ours for the taking. And if we can't make a deal, then maybe we trade his rights or sell his rights to another team. But I think we need this guy. We have a slot for him. I think they'll make that deal happen. I think it's, as you said, I think Houston's just trying to make it tough on us. So that's what they do. So upcoming this Saturday, we have a game with Charlotte. Charlotte has gone from the worst defense in the league to one of the best. This team has turned around it's kind of like seeing Noonan his first year. It was like he's playing with the same guys that Jaap Stan had, and he's turning victories from ties into victories and losses into ties. I think that's what their guy is doing early in the season. What are your expectations for Saturday?
43-0. Us. No, no. We found
That's
that's
I
the
was
game where we
talking about.
scored. Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, until I see otherwise, I think it's going to be another really close 1-0, 2-0. I think we'll win it still. Because I just believe in our defense. I really think Robson and Miazga and whoever they put next to him are going to excel, whether it's Murphy, whether it's Hoagland if he's ready to go. Solitano's a great keeper. So I think I don't think we're going to lose a match for some time, but it's going to be all very close games. It's just going to be one of those things. And now, because I said that, it'll probably be 5-0 or something like that, and could be completely wrong and look like a jerk. But that's my gut feeling on most of these games coming up is until we find the form, it's just going to be really close. So I would see like a 1-0. I could see again, or maybe a 2-0 type game.
I would
I'm
not.
gonna.
I would not be surprised to see Santos in the lineup because it's AstroTurf or whatever. What it's pro football field, not grass. So the ball moves faster, and I could see them, and particularly if they play a high line. I'm not sure if they do or not, but I could see somebody like Santos getting significant minutes.
Mhm.
I do not like the kick and run, but on a field like that, you may want to do that.
Well, and that's where Oriano is really going to stretch him, and with as well as Yibling. So that's where you'd want those fast wing backs just flying down the field, which I think we got. So
So you say 1-2 to nothing? I would say probably it's going to be tough if their defense is good, but I don't know who they've played. Uh, they beat the team up north 2-0, but I did not see the replay. But a lot of people, particularly north of us, were saying that the refs were bad, that they scored goals that got taken away. Charlotte scored goals that they shouldn't have gotten, and there's a red card and all that stuff. I don't know. I didn't see that. All I know is that they didn't whine when we had a clear offsides for them to score a tying goal. So, you know, I take whatever they say with a grain of salt. But holding that team to no goals is probably showing you there to have some defense. So I'll probably go with a 1-0. One last thing about the players. This is you seem to be really into the players. I'm guessing that you do coaching. Yeah. So
yeah, coach. I'm a
DeAndre
coach. I'm a
Yedlin, I
player.
think DeAndre Yedlin is this. We don't have two good wingbacks until we got DeAndre Yedlin, and he hasn't had, unlike the other players, a preseason to get acclimated. Now he's played a few games. Every time he plays, I think he's getting better and better. I think that guy must be the happiest man on the planet. He was captain of Inter Miami. Messi comes in. He was still captain of Inter Miami. And then the whole Messi circus. I think you just don't. I was down at Inter Miami. They're not fans of that team. They're fans of Messi. They could care less about anybody else on that team except for that man. To lose your captainship because it's Messi, I understand that. He probably was that, and other things are probably going on. But it seems to me every week he seems to be happier and happier and happier. I mean, I don't know him. I don't know him personally, but just seeing his demeanor occasionally when they show some pictures during the week and certainly on the pitch, he seems to be having a good time. What are your thoughts on Yedlin? Obviously, you said he was a favorite of yours.
Yep. I personally think, and I said this before he played a single minute. I said this is going to be a really good signing because I think he's going to enjoy playing here more than he did over in FC Miami. Playing with the three-back system, if you're a wing-back who likes to go forward, I play that position. So I'm like intimate with it. Plus, I watch a lot of Bundesliga and they all play with the three-back system. And so if you are a wing-back like he is, who loves to go forward, the best thing for you is one to have two center backs who can support you so you don't have to sprint back like a madman to cover for them, but also to play in a system that allows you to do that. Miami was playing a 4-3-3 mainly because it suits Metsi best and some of their players. Our system actually suits guys like Oriella and Yidlin the best because it allows them to just go up and down as fast as they can. It allows them to get into the attacking third, which and having that support of three center backs behind, as well as your double six pivot, the two center defensive midfielders. So I think he is happier because he's allowed to play more of his game that he loves doing, which is getting forward as a defensive player.
And I really, I mean, when you think about, again, this is a fan podcast, but we both played quite a bit. Having the back three when you have a U.S. men's national team member Robinson, a U.S. men's national team center back of Miazga, and now you have a U.S. men's national team wing back in a system that he prefers. We've got a great defense, but more importantly, those guys, when we played a back four, if you saw Hagelin in a back four, Hagelin is not an outside back in a back four. He's not fast enough. He can't play the lines high enough. It looked, you would see him just, that's why people were like, oh, maybe we should not play him. I know he's the local boy, but put him in the back three. Don't worry about having to go cover the cross. You just play your zone and have those wing backs eventually get back and do that. As a wing back, like both of the guys that we have, They also don't have to worry about, oh no, they just hit a long ball. I'm going to get beat. I'm exposed. No, we've got guys that'll cover their backs and they'll hold them up long enough to come in and join the play. I think that's what you're seeing. I just hope we don't turn into Nashville. That's my only concern. I said that earlier this year, and that's my concern right now. So let's not turn into Nashville. But fortunately, Nashville has lost their defense and have not picked up an offense. So good for them. So let's turn our attention to you and why you're on the show is you reached out to was it Winston, right? Of
Yeah.
Cincinnati Soccer Talk. And I got to get Winston on this show later this year. He's going to get on. He didn't know about me, but he was looking for people, and he's like he found you, and he's like, no, you should really be on this podcast. So explain a little bit about how you became an FCC fan, and how did you figure us out from where you live in Michigan?
So, I mean, when everything was going down, when everything was created, the whole FC Cincinnati, even the USL team and all that, I was not living in the country. I was living in Germany. So everything I saw was like a little bit from the far, but I was more or less living there, uh, playing locally, working there, living the life of someone in Germany, basically at that point. Then when I came back, I started hearing, a little bit of wind of it. I know Jaap Stat was the first coach, and I'm a huge Man United fan. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. And I started paying attention. But it wasn't until I went to my first actual game, which I would say was probably about 2 years ago. So yeah, I know I'm a very young, immature FCC fan. I haven't been around for all this stuff. But in my defense, I wasn't around for it. I was in another country. So, but nonetheless, I went to my first game, and the crowd atmosphere absolutely second to none. Best atmosphere I've ever seen. I've been to Seattle. I've been to uh, the other team up north, who I won't go there anymore. Chicago Fire, Austin. They don't hold it. They don't hold a candle to like the pregame match at all. To the stuff that's going on, the crowd, the atmosphere, the fandom. And as a coach, that's the type of stuff I want to see when we talk about growing the game, is being able to grab people who don't play, who are casual fans, pull them in because you have a good culture. And then went to the stadium, obviously, and I'm like, this is the closest thing that I've ever seen to a European atmosphere here in the States. So that's what grabbed hold of me. Since then, I brought my daughter, and her and I just become super fans. We watch all the games that we can on TV together. Then we go to matches here and there. I've been about 10 matches in the last 2 years, and one of them was had the pleasure of walking out with Seattle Sounders with last year's game with my team. They did the fan walkout, and it was really cool because again, it's a top-down approach, I think, from the organization to reach out to coaches, non-normal fans, people out of town, and try to get them to come into their environment. And it's honestly, it's second to none. And a good example of this is, again, guys up north. I had we're about 4 hours away from Cincinnati, 3 hours from Columbus. And a friend of mine was going down to the Columbus area for a tournament. He goes, I can't believe they jacked their prices up because they know that all these kids are in here for a youth tournament. We were gonna go try to see a crew game, and they're like 3 times the prices. And I went, yep. I go, you know what Cincinnati does? He goes, what? I go, they lower their prices because they want us to go in. And it just shows you the difference. And sure enough, going to King's Hammer, we get an email. Hey, if you're, in the area, you want to see a game, use this coupon code, you got like 20-30% off. So it's that type of stuff that, to me, yeah, MLS is a big, like, just like any other league, it's a big corporate league, but they try to do stuff that are outside the corporate norm, and they try to bring people in, and you can't, it's special. You know what I mean?
It's always nice, particularly for any corporation, but a sporting corporation, to have a mission statement. And of course, we've all lived through corporate mission statements if you work at any office of any size. But they seem to really, the front office, I give the kudos to them. They actually do want the community. That was the whole part of this, was to make this a fabric of the community. And That's why it's so special when people like you come in and go, I wish that was in my community. It's not, but I love going there because it's the closest thing to the community that I want. Um, I
Well,
see that all over the country, and quite frankly, all over
mhm.
the world here. With it amazes me how people just love this team.
And honestly, I feel like I am a part of the community from a distance, even though I know I'm not. But like I've had so much interaction with the front office, with ticket sales, with group sales, which coming down stadium tours and everything. I like even bringing youth teams down to the area that I do feel a little bit a part of the community. And honestly, it's something special to say, hey, yeah, I live like about 200 miles away, but yet I still feel part of this community from afar. That's why I watch like, you know, or listen to or pay attention to podcast shows like yours, like the Cincinnati Soccer Talk, because it brings me just a little bit more into that fold, you know, that even though, yeah, again, 200 miles away, 4 hours away, it's still it's part apart from a distance, if you will.
And that's, I think that's a tribute to the people. This is literally the heart of my broadcast, is to show people, particularly outside of like American football fans or baseball fans who are like, I'm a Reds fan or I'm a Bengals fan. I have a guy who dresses up like he's called the Banglorian. He's got his own stuff. He's a huge Bengals fan, but he's come to a couple of games. He loves this game. He loves this team. He loves this town. It's he's part of the community, and that's part of, I think, all of the people that I see, and that's true. I think of everyone here. It's why we all love it. Is that we're not gatekeepers. We're not going to tell you how to fan. I say this on my show all the time. There's no wrong way to fan. And we don't say, oh, you can't be here unless you've been here so many years, or if you only people who live in town can be here. None of that. We're happy to have anybody and everybody. The more people who are singing, chanting, dancing, the more people are having fun. And that's what we're all really about here, is having some fun for a couple of hours. I know I liked you when you said Man U, and then I saw your shirt. I was like, that's exactly where I ate when I went to Austin, Texas. So we're already friends. We just didn't know it yet. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is
Hey,
that
there you go.
Barry Blacks and Man United? I'm happy. I'm. You could be my other brother.
That's actually where my brother lives. That's why, you know, that's how I've been down there a couple times. He's actually literally around the block from Q2 Stadium, so it's kind of cool. But even there, even that close, still doesn't hold a candle to the fan experience of FC Cincinnati. Not
I
even
was
not even
there.
close.
I was there. It was kind of cookie cutter. The crowd was not bad, but it was like 37 degrees and raining sideways.
Yeah.
Uh, and I was the tallest person, so it was like Russian nesting dolls behind
Hmm.
me. I was just the windbreak for about 7 or 8 people, and we lost 5-1. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that game, but it was a fun pregame. It was a fun night before, but
Yeah.
that was my only experience with that. Hopefully, it would be better next time I go, maybe, because I think the next day it was like 80, and that's
Yeah.
kind of Austin
There you go.
in the wintertime. It's like, yeah, it's 35, 35, 80, and it's going to be like that until it's 120. So how did you actually hear of us? Did you just see like, because I remember there was a video out, I think it was during our Open Cup run, where they were like, this is Cincinnati, Ohio? Fans acting like this. Did you see that video, or did you see some other videos? Because you were out and you said you were in Germany.
No, actually, I didn't see a single thing until landed in the States, and by then it was already the MLS side. So it was I had people I know that came down to this from from my area to work with some of the USL guys, and I saw pictures from that, but never really saw the USL side itself, because I just wasn't in town. You know what I mean? It's like it's just one of those things. It just wasn't part of the country. Then I came back and I was like, oh, Cincinnati's getting a team. They're like, yeah, don't you know the USL side's huge there? I'm like, no, I've been gone for 4 years. I'm like,
Wait, there
this is
was a
all news to
team
me.
for that? Yeah.
Like, so yeah, no, and then obviously the COVID happened and that delayed any time coming to see out. And then, after that, when things kind of got going, really the first opportunity I got was that 2022, 2023 time. So
A good time to start.
yeah,
It's the best time to start because after three wooden spoons, I can tell you wouldn't be feeling quite as happy as as
you
that.
know,
But
and as a so it's funny. I've been a Stuttgart for a fan for like all the time, right? And I'm a big support your home team guy. And at one time at training, one of the German guys goes, "Why do you support this crappy team? We haven't won anything." And actually, when I was there, they got relegated to Division Two, and a whole bunch of stories about that. But I looked at him and I said, "Listen, I live in Stuttgart. That's why I'm a fan of this team." And everyone goes, "Well, why are you a fan of Cincinnati?" Well, proximity wise, I think I'm really in the between, Columbus and Cincy. So I can pick. I don't have a MLS team, and I just chose the one with the better culture, the one I actually feel a part of, not the one that I've been to half a dozen times and gone, it's neat, I guess, but and then just went home. So there's a difference there. The culture is really second to none in Cincinnati. It's so close to Europe, it's not even funny. The only difference would be size. It's a big when you go to a game in Stuttgart, it's a big experience. It's the same thing, people around the stadium drinking, congregating, same stuff you see in Washington Park almost, just a little bit larger because of the scale, and hell, the team's been around for 100 years, a little bit, so they have time, so it's so similar, it's not even funny. And that's what I tell everyone, that it's if you want a European experience and not have to, fly and buy $900 plane ticket to go to Germany, just go to Cincinnati. It's there.
we have the beer, and here's yet another reason why you're a lost brother. I'm dating myself. Of course, on my 60th birthday is coming up in a couple of weeks. But in the 70s, there was a show on PBS called Soccer Made in Germany, and my team was Stuttgart. I rooted for Stuttgart in like 77 when they were good. And now I know it's just Bayern Munich and a bunch of other chumps, but
Hey, it's come back. They're actually sitting third right now.
uh,
So
I'm excited. I'm excited. That was my only soccer in the 70s was Soccer Made in Germany. So all you old people who are watching this, all three of you, I called it out. Like if you're under 40, you don't even know what Soccer Made in Germany was actually. But it was fun. They had one game a week and kind of a wrap-up show of sorts, but it was still really good. So uh, sadly, we've run out of time, as this has just been a wonderful experience. I thank you so much for your perspective and your view. Do you have any final thoughts?
no final thoughts. The only thing is left for me to do to finish my, super FC Cincinnati fandom is somehow one day figure out what supporters group to just throw my money at. So I haven't latched my hitch to one yet, but I constantly sit there going, one of these days I'm just have to, ship down money there for one of them and then just make a decision.
Well, I would say the even though the brigade is where I'm at, and I will invite you next time you come down to come to Sam Adams. That's where we pregame at the brigade. Diana Stott would probably be because they're the German, the German club. I don't know how much German they actually speak, so. But that also dovetails at something I'm going to probably do in the future. And I'm putting this out on this podcast is that I'm going to do in a future home game. We're going to do, it's not a pub crawl, but it's a pub crawl. It's called Know an SG Pub. So I'm going to get a member from each of the SG pregame places. We're going to go to one pregame place, have that member show us around, go to the next place, show it around. So we're going to go to the Stillhouse OTR, Northern Row, Holiday, Sam Adams, and the Symphony. So that's 5 places. We're going to have to start a few hours early. Who knows how what that last couple of last parts I'll have filmed will look like, but it'd probably be enjoyable to watch. I don't know if it'll be enjoyable to listen, but it'll definitely be enjoyable to watch. So I'm counting on members of those SGs, and you don't have to be a member of the SG to join the group. If once I have a date firm, I will put that out. And if you want to come and meet all the members, since you don't know which SG you want to pick, come see all of them. I think it's a perfect thing for you and any other casual fan. If you go, oh, I really want to join an SG, but I don't know which one I want, come drink with all of us. And
Yeah,
then
there you go.
sober up and then make your choice the next week. I think that's a fair thing to say and do. So anyhow, Nate, thank you so much for your time and your perspective. It's been a wonderful conversation. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Matt. That was great.
And that's all the time that we have here on FCC Supporter Square. Remember, you too can be a fan. Just give me a call. My email is fcc.supp.square@gmail, and or drop a line on the Spotify or YouTube, and we'll see you next week here on FCC Supporter Square.
Thank you for listening to FCC Supporter Square. Your hosts are Mark Shupin and Matt Warner. If you'd like to be a guest, please contact us at fcc.supp.square@gmail.com. The intro song was Living Inside My Brain by the Stone Buttons. The exit song was Awesome Sauce, also by the Stone Buttons. Thank you for listening.